but it said it disconnected and try again. So I'm not sure how much of that got recorded, but it was a good conversation. I explained to the library staff that they've been super sweet, and that the fact that they're not able to make the accommodations that the police and all these other services believe that they should, if that's not their fault either. My disabilities aren't their fault. We did work together a contingency plan. Hey, Tyler. Being abused like a motherfucker.
Huh?
Being abused like a motherfucker.
What?
Man, they had like a little mock KKK rally down there for me. I got it recorded. Dude used the bullhorn and fucking everything. It started off like during my video, I'm talking about how fucked up it is here, but how I was glad that the kids weren't doing all that racist bullshit that night.
What?
And next thing I know, like literally right after I said that, there's 3 girls in a row that scream the N-word at me. And then one of them little fuckers gets out a bullhorn and starts friggin' blaring it at me while they're screaming stuff. I'm like, man, you know, these guys are out of practice.
Yeah, probably.
Yep. So everybody's like, oh, dude, that ain't illegal. There's nothing wrong with that. I tried getting a hold of the cops. You know, the only time that the cops ever took it almost seriously was Sadler over the situation. And if it hadn't been for Jared, that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's impossible. And then you turn out to be a nice guy instead of a fucking douchebag.
Exactly.
I was literally just talking to the staff in there about, you know, I'm told to call the cops, but the cops aren't going to do anything. They're going to be douches.
Yeah.
Now, so I talked to them. I have a contingency plan for the next time someone's fucked up on drugs and comes out screaming. Or the next time somebody's offended that I exist in a parking lot that's labeled library. But the other thing is I'm understanding when people talk to me afterwards, but it's really scary in the moment.
Yeah.
So we worked that out. What are you up to?
Heading the dispensary for a friend. Gotta meet him over there.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, he's gonna hook me up with me hooking him up with my medical price.
That works.
Oh yeah. Oh, speaking of the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You be safe.
I'll catch you later.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Tyler.
Yep.
I put forth an imaginary scenario for the guy in there. True story here. Tyler Crabtree it's a scenario that actually happened. It's recorded on my YouTube channel with Tyler Crabtree. That's the one time that somebody took it seriously, and it took a lot of doing, but Tyler's been nice to me since. You know, sometimes people just have one of them days. The situation here is, well, I can go in there. They want to have as little police interaction as possible. I don't know how much of the conversation with the man that was recorded, but he was right when I was getting ready to write it down. One of the administrators came out, so I spoke with him and I told him thank you for how wonderful his staff have been. I also, you know, I'm told to call the cops when this stuff happens. I talked to the library staff. They said they'd rather come out and talk to the person. The problem is, if it's somebody who's stalking me over and over and over again, it is very scary, especially when it's not just this parking lot. The fact that they can't accommodate my disabilities or make reasonable accommodations for my disabilities isn't their fault. It's not their job. You'd think out of all these services, TFCC, TCCHC, the police office, the sheriff's department. You'd think that they would have some place where I could sit down in peace and fucking quiet without somebody in there fucking yakking at me. I don't need a social worker fucking talking over me. Let me write it the fuck down. Don't hand me the paperwork and send me out the door. And then, of course, there's the yakking for hours that I have to listen to in order to even get the paperwork. And then they'll probably give me the wrong paperwork and 8 different fucking phone numbers to 8 different places. And then try sending me to the library. There's stuff that the library is good for, but it's not within my capabilities on a lot of things, or theirs. I'm going to tell you something about the people who work here at the library. Some of them are very alternate lifestyle. Bolder alternate lifestyle. Well, not anymore. Boulder finally got trashed. They were resilient and they fought through. But you know what? 2003, all them juggalos came through with the heroin, and that was it. Boulder got pasted with that shit. Now, the imaginary scenario that I presented for that guy, for if a situation like that happens, I believe you said his name is David, but I could be incorrect. I'll go back through the recording. Anyway, yeah, that literally just happened. I came out of the library, and the guy who I was talking about, who had, well, he started off threatening my life. I didn't get the recording done until after. See, there was 2 altercations back to back with Tyler Crabtree and his friend. And I got their license plate and I read it aloud. You know what Tyler Crabtree did? First of all, he avoided me. And second of all, when we came in close contact on accident, he was friendly to me. He talked to me like I was a person and knocked his shit off. But that imaginary scenario, that happened in this parking lot a couple months ago. Lighthouse Society, it's not coffee cake time. This is me saying thank you to the Tillamookkk Library for not taking part in the hatred, not taking part in the homophobia, not taking part in the racism, not taking part in the hate. I needed a friend or family member to help me with this, or the professionals weren't going to do anything. They were just me off all over. When I was sent to Boulder, Colorado by the officers in that case, I went to Boulder, and then I was victimized in Boulder, and the cops were fucking relentless. They just wouldn't let up. They wouldn't leave me alone. Meanwhile, the cops wouldn't tell the truth. The news wouldn't tell the truth. None of them cared. The reality of the situation is that I did everything that I needed to, everything that I was told to by these professionals before Natalie was killed, to try to turn them in, to try to get a stop to the violence, to try to get a stop to the threats, to make it so I could actually see my friends and family. But that's hard to do when the police are blowing you off and telling you it's somebody else's job, when they're sending you to fucking therapy, when you're being fucking stalked, and none of these people are helping you with the paperwork. None of them are taking it seriously. They're all telling you they can't do nothing about it. They don't know what the legal procedure is. But that once I finally got disability that the cops know, and they'll have to do their jobs. They have to do their jobs for a disabled and at-risk adult. When it comes to Natalie Bollinger getting her brains blown out, that's a pretty serious situation. It's not the library's fault. It's the conduct of the people in my life. The fact that they all want to blow over what the mentally ill term actually means, how it is used, how it is not only an insult, but a tool to destroy a person's words, their integrity, and their reputation. Many police officers will lie about you. They'll say, oh, well, this person said this and this person said that. What they're trying to get out of you is a false confession, or get you to falsify evidence or falsify information about someone else, to try to insinuate that they were doing something other than they were doing. And police do this all the time. I'm an at-risk and disabled adult. I cannot defend myself against that. Now, when they tried to pull it on Logan and Shayna, I got lucky, because Logan and Shayna believed the cops, believed what the cops had to say. And guess what? That was the day that James Murphy started stalking me, because of those exact same lies. Now, the next day, here's what made it so that the police's bullshit didn't work. That old guy thought I was the man with the rocks, the man that I gave shoes to and socks to and a shirt. Rolled him a cigarette. I was already recording when the guy come up. The whole situation is recorded. The cops talking to him is recorded. But I didn't have the money to get the body cameras. And I kept getting it'll take an act of God to get that for months. No matter what, it's somebody else's job, somebody else's job, somebody else's job. The same here as everywhere else. Did you try the library? Can I make these calls in the library? Well, I have the computer up in front of me so that I can actually see the evidence in peace and quiet, with the ability to write stuff down and actually have adequate time so I'm not rushed, because I can't function. I'm having to do hundreds and hundreds of calls that I have to squish into the 1 hour in a room that I have. And it's not private. And many of my predators, if I walk into the library, I may see them at any point in time. I go to mandated reporters about abuse in their hospital. On camera. Like Nicole Vertner. At the Seventh-day Adventist Church. She feeds us. See, they're nice people. She's also the business director at the hospital. She was also a mandated reporter. When I told her about the assault at the hospital, did she do her job as a mandated reporter? Did she try to turn it in? Did she take it seriously? Go back and listen to the recordings. If it's got the word dinner or food in it, it's probably an interaction. There's even a couple of holidays I've spent there. Yeah, I've been here a while now trying to get help. That guy has been stalking me for a year and a half. I mean, he'd already been stalking me for months. When Logan and Shayna come up to me and told me about all the messed up stuff that old guy was doing with them. I need you guys to go through and help to turn this stuff in. Try to force the FBI to listen to it. You guys send it in, please. Tell them, hey, this stuff is real. This guy is doing desperate stuff to try to get heard. He's being blown off and talked over by everyone. I'm disabled. That's not a choice. On every one of my court dates, I was denied the right to show evidence. In every police interaction, my public pretenders refused to get the body camera evidence, wanted to argue about it, wanted to say, oh, well, there's all these tricks they can use so they don't have to show their body camera. And I'm like, hey, write that down. Do not use that as an intimidation tactic for not doing your job. Without a friend or family member, they can just call me mentally ill and pretend like I made it up. And that is not fucking okay. That's why someone needs to be there. So that I am not talked over. The problem with people being on drugs and alcohol everywhere I was at is that it was nonstop drama, nonstop noise, and often violence, a lot of arguments, a lot of meanness, a lot of boyfriend and girlfriend bullying each other, a lot of creepy ass stalkers like Amber. All because mandated reporters didn't want to do their jobs when I first came to them. After that, I can't trust them. When they talk over me, change my words into something they ain't, and brush me off, that's not okay. You know, Brian took advantage of me, not intentionally. He did it because he's a drug addict. He did it more than once. When I went to Nicole Vertner and I explained to her that I was assaulted at the hospital on January 28th of this year, she called over another hospital worker, and then she reworded it into something that wasn't a crime, apparently, according to how they were trying to justify it by rewording it. No, that's not what I told her. This is why it is inappropriate to make me go somewhere alone, and why it is inappropriate for any of these places to say that I cannot record. If you're going to change my words right in front of me, immediately after I said them, so you don't have to do your job, that is not fucking okay. And that's how it is at every service when you're a disabled homeless man going in by yourself. People have no trust in the cops because the cops aren't going to do their jobs. The administrator here, I sang his praises and the praises of the staff who worked here. Or who work here. They have not been predatory towards me. They have not harmed me for what other people have done. They have not bullied me over the situation with Crabtree. The way that Rob bullied me over the situation with Molly. The way that Rob bullied me over the situation with, what's her name? Vicky Rain and her friend, who I saw this morning, by the way. I try to record everything, but I can't take care of myself. I have the volume turned all the way down on this, so all these restricted calls that are coming at me right now, I don't have to. The problem is, if I had any faith that any of these people were going to do their jobs, instead of me being forced around in circles one at a time, for each of them to deny me the most simple things like, hey, could I use a room to write this shit down? Now that we have a room, could you let me write this shit down? Could you please leave me alone in this room so I can write it down if that's what's necessary? If you're just going to talk over me and I have to write it down because you won't let me make an audio report, well then let me have that room to write it down. Let me write it down. Let me write it down in peace and quiet. Not rush me because it's going to take longer than you want it to. They don't want to do their jobs. That's what it all comes down to. And because they don't want to do their jobs, they don't follow the law or the protocol. And then they victim blame and victim shame. Prepared excuses. They've gone through this before. They've victimized many people in this town. And with any single one of us recorded on this channel, you can hear the same thing. These people play ignorant, play stupid, play like they didn't know with every one of us. Or they talk over us, have to hear it. When we tell them about these services they're trying to send us to, these services have done. While we're trying to turn in these services to mandated reporters, to people who are supposed to do something, they're busy doing the same thing. Talking over me, rewording it so they don't have to do their jobs. Then after they have committed crime after crime after crime, and the cops have committed crime after crime after crime, I can't look at anything healthy coming out of that at this point. Now at the very beginning, if they'd done that, that's what they're supposed to do. If they'd have done that from the fucking start, it would be different. Instead of them playing the mentally ill tag, now, after saying that I'm cognitive and I can speak and all that, I'm well aware I can speak. You don't get to blow off my disabilities and then pull the mentally ill bullshit. Especially when he started off doing that bullshit. I already knew from other people how I was going to be treated before I went to the services, before I went to care, before I went to any of these other places. And I still went to those places knowing I was going to be treated that way because the other homeless people are being treated the same way. And yes, many of them are on drugs, but we're not all on drugs. I have to be afraid of being in that building. Out here, at least the internet works better. And if somebody starts shit, I'm not going to get kicked out of the library for somebody bullying me out here. Yes, that's a possibility. No, those people have not given any indication that they would do that. However, you never know. When I was victimized of Fred Myers repeatedly, I was victimized by Fred Myers and the police repeatedly for it. They wouldn't do anything about Molly, but they'd come and harass me every time fucking Molly called them. They wouldn't look at any of the fucking evidence or allow me a room to sit down and fucking do that in. They would ignore my disabilities. I try to explain them, they just talk over me. They've already decided I can't be disabled, that I'm just a mentally ill, retarded fucking alcoholic, fucking goddamn drug addict. And that's just how they're going to play it. Oh, he must be schizophrenic. We got the recordings with Marcia Estrada on this channel that show very clearly that I am not. Nicole Peralta stated very clearly that I am not.
a lot of mental health workers that I was able to speak to stated that I was not, but none of them were rubber stamps, and my public pretenders would not speak to them, would not make any attempt whatsoever to contact them. None. Or any of the other witnesses. And because I couldn't remember them off the top of my head, and because the police had taken all of this stuff that has the evidence in it, and because my public pretenders literally would not requisition a single goddamn piece of evidence, they just wanted to argue about everything would take an act of God. Meanwhile, they all went upon me off on the library. Instead of taking advantage of my disabilities, they need to accommodate them, not pawn me off on 400 other places. And just because I'm in housing at any point in time, no, I'm not in housing now. I can't get housing now. Because when I was in housing, I had to go back to cops who were predatory, that I was trying to turn into the state patrol, who wouldn't do their jobs in Chapel, Nebraska. No matter who fucking harmed me or victimized me, I had to try to turn it in alone because none of my friends actually cared. Anyway, Tyler Crabtree is recorded on my channel, bearing his ass, threatening me, yelling at me, screaming at me. I was fine with him filming me. Later on, I also have him recorded talking about how fucked up he was. What's the difference between Tyler Crabtree and the police? I'm not forced to go to the fucking Crabtrees to turn in Tyler. I'm not forced to go to Tyler to turn in Tyler. Tyler's family isn't involved in fucking threatening me, harassing me, intimidating me, or bullying me over something that Tyler did. Tyler fesses up to what he did. He doesn't quite remember what it was over. It's because I existed in the parking lot. I was just parked here. I'd just come out of the library. Just gotten into my car. Am a library customer. But if it happens again with someone else, which it frequently has, I'm going to go in and I'm going to talk to the guy. That's what I should do. I should let them be aware of my stalker. I think I might go in and do that, actually. I don't have very much of this, though. 5% battery. I've got my other phone up and running. This should be fun. See, when the cops got involved with Tyler Crabtree, they only did so because Jared made them. If Jared hadn't been there, it would have been like every other occasion.
I just realized I don't have enough battery to do that, but I do have time to go back in there in a little bit and show them. Yeah, I'm going to go show the library the stalkers in their parking lot on video on my YouTube channel. And explain to them that I went to the cops, and the cops literally won't do anything. They won't accommodate my disabilities. None of these services will allow me the simplest accommodation. How about let me use a room for as long as it takes to write the shit down? If that's what it takes to get it started, allow me a room to do it in. Otherwise, I'm in a constant state of crisis and cannot function. I am constantly looking over my shoulder, and I am constantly having to listen to extraneous noises that I cannot process. I need some peace and quiet to process all of this evidence. So let's end this video, I guess. I'm gonna try to march across town to the center market. Hopefully I don't get threatened or harassed or intimidated or yelled at or pulled over by the police for some god-awful reason. By the time I get back, I should have some charge on my phone. And with that, I should be able to make sure I record it when I tell the people in the library, even though it seems to have problems doing that.